Welcome to Fit and Fun. I'm Missy Kane. So glad you're tuning in, and we're going to get fit. We're going to have lots of fun. We're going to do a little flow, a little yoga flow today, which would be great for anyone. We'll even dedicate it to hikers. You hikers and runners out there, what we're going to do today would be perfect for you guys because a lot of times we get stiff. We're in good cardiovascular shape, but we may lack a little bit of core strength and also range of motion. So I've got a hiker buddy on with me today, Karen Milani. Thanks for being on.
You're welcome.
And she takes yoga, right?
Yes. 2, maybe 3 times a week, depending on the schedule, but at least twice a week.
And I've been trying to have Karen on, but she's so busy with her hikes. Her hike schedule. She's done the 900-mile map already and working on another map. And as we're going to bring up some pictures of Karen at the same time, you can do a little bit of easy twist warm up, and we call this what?
Empty coat sleeves.
Empty coat sleeves. Isn't that a cool picture? That was Karen and I at Rock Island State Park.
Yes.
South of Cookeville. Wasn't that gorgeous?
It was a beautiful day, beautiful place.
I felt like I was in some scene out of Africa or something.
Yes, had never been there before, and just the waterfalls, so impressive.
And you don't even have to do a long hike to see the sights. If you had someone that's that needs to stay in the car, you basically could look over by the parking lot where we went and see the beautiful falls.
You can.
Oh, that was a fun day.
That was the finish of the first map. They call it a map when you've hiked all the trails within the boundaries of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park.
And that was Queen Karen.
Yes, at Fontana Lake, Fontana Dam. At the marina, my finish.
And there's your buds, your hiking buds, and helped you through so many trails.
That's right. Met all through your series, your April and October hike series, Get on the Trails with Missy.
And it's Phil, and we've got Charlie in the middle, and Ed, and you and Charlie and Ed, because those two guys have retired. You're joined at the hip almost every Wednesday, right?
Every Wednesday.
Your husband's very grateful for those two guys,
He's
right?
Very grateful because he doesn't have to go.
And you're a biker.
Yes, that's a good picture of us biking.
Where were you there?
I can't remember.
But we go like...
it was cold wherever we...
Blue Ridge Parkway. We've done a bunch of Blue Ridge Parkway rides. You've done a lot of those.
Foothills Parkway, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where we were, but done so many. They all run together now.
Isn't that fun? This is behind us, gang. We just realized when Karen got to the set, this is from 2006. Jack Goodwin used to take some great pictures, and Karen is on the far outside with a black jacket on. Anyway, and that was Gabe's Mountain, Mandarin Bald.
Yes, over on the Cosby side of the park.
Isn't that fun? That is so funny that was that long ago. Okay, we're going to start. I'm going to do just a couple things with Karen. Going to reach up for a warm-up, but Karen takes often, so she's going to take me through some of the poses she likes to do, and you guys can follow along. So this is one that Gracie, my 15-year-old, was told to do for good core. She's had some hip and thigh problems, and they said that she needs to work on this exercise. A lot of athletes are told to do some yoga poses. And now I'm going to just kind of relax before I turn it over to Karen. One thing I do with our hikers as a warm-up is we're going to work their thighs here just to kind of go back and forth. My range of motion is pretty poor in my quads, and that's one reason I need to do some more yoga because I get so stiff. And if we get too stiff, it's going to affect our gait when we try to hike or walk or whatever. So a few of these.
And that's one reason I started with the yoga, too. I mean, there's so many benefits, but I had torn ACL repair, and I did not have good flexibility in that knee, so I wanted to improve that, and yoga helps with flexibility, certainly.
We're going to go down to your mat. If you don't have a mat, you can just be on your carpet, your floor, and do some poses to start out and do some breathing. So come on down, and I'll ask Karen to show us some things to do here.
Right. We'll start cross-legged, restful pose. You see a lot of people doing yoga like that, but I just usually hold my hands down anyway is fine. And yoga is all about breathing and coordination of movements, very defined movements, along with the synchronized breathing. So first thing we want to do, we'll take our right hand and trace the spine with our thumb to the floor with your right hand, pressing down. And then with our left, we'll reach up, big breath, stretch, and then bring the arm across the body. And you want to look over your shoulder, breathing the whole time. And then you'll bring your head around and look. Take the gaze over your left shoulder.
And this seems so simple, but as we age, we need to keep that range of motion.
That's correct. That's correct. And then you can release all that and come back to your restful pose. And for proper alignment, we'll recross our legs, and we'll do the same exact sequence on the left side. So we'll take our left hand this time and trace the spine with our thumb, press down with that hand behind, reach with the right, big breath, get extension, and come around with the gaze. And don't forget to breathe.
We tend to hold that breath.
Well, you do. And in the yoga, you want to continue breathing always. Gaze over your right shoulder, and then back to your restful pose.
And for our sakes today, we're going to do a couple of these poses, maybe 2 or 3 times, so that you can get it and so that I can get it.
Now there's many variations of that twist and fold movement. So now let's take our legs straight out and with hands down by your side. Some people do the fist, and I just usually put my hands down. More comfortable for me. You have to find your comfort level. And this is a staff pose. And from here, we can take our right leg, bring it up, and you want to put this right foot on the outside of your left knee. Again, taking that right arm, trace that spine with your thumb, pressing down behind, lifting the left, big breath, and just rotate around the arm of the leg.
In track, we used to call this pretzel pose, but I think, or pretzel stretch.
And for this one, we can also come back to the front with your head, and a lot of times we'll just reach over, cross over with your hands and come down for just an extra stretch here in your hip flexors.
Well, sciatica, a lot of people have problems because they're so stiff.
It's good for that too. And then you can untwist yourself, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Taking that left foot, bring it up, outside the right knee. We're going to take that left hand, press down behind, tracing that spine. Lift up with the right, big breath, come around, hold and breathe. If we don't knock heads, well, you'll be going the other way. Come around on the other side and feel that stretch.
Oh, yes.
And then back to our staff pose.
I like that.
A movement that's a little bit more advanced would be to take the right leg and bring it underneath your left calf. And then you're going to take your left and bring it outside of the right knee, another type of pretzel. And again, taking that right hand, come down behind you, left arm up, come down.
And you can see how Karen is more flexible than me
From
because
yoga.
I'm getting in that, but if I tried to be exactly like you right now, it would hurt. So I'm doing it a little different.
And this is a different level, like maybe a level 3 pose also. So then you just untwist again. But let's don't go into the rest of that. I just wanted to show you.
It really is good for all of here.
A little bit different one. And now let's come to the table. So you just want to swing your legs underneath you. And this is the table. And what you'll do is, of course, you're on your knees and your hands, and you want a little bit of space between your thumbs there, and we always just gaze between the space of our hands and try to keep that back flat. Sometimes you want to tend to collapse down in your shoulders, but we'll try to keep the back flat.
Flat table.
Flat table. And from here you can go into the cat position, which of course looks just like a cat, rounding that back up, and you'll breathe in. And then you come down, and a little bit of a sway in it, and the head comes up and the gaze comes up, and this is the dog. And you'll want to do this with your breath, 4 or 5 times, just breathing in as you do in the cat, and you want to exhale down into the dog. Very good stretch for the back, tight, sore muscles. And you'll also feel, as you're gazing up, you'll feel the stretch in your abdominal muscles, hopefully. But again, everybody goes to your own limit. We all have different abilities. And then back to the table.
I had a lady on not too long ago that teaches at Humana Guidance Center, and she does yoga in a chair for seniors.
Yes.
So you can adapt it a lot of different ways.
You certainly can. And we've had people come in class who have had a broken ankle, and they'll do it sitting in a chair until they get their cast off. All right, from here, let's do what we call the hound dog. And what we want to do is put the left leg out, straight out behind us. We're balancing on the right knee there, and then our right hand goes up, front. We're going to hold this pose and breathe a few seconds. Right, and then we come down, and we're going to do it on the other side. Right leg out.
And try this. It looks easy, but sometimes it's not.
Sometimes it's not. Left arm out in front. It's a balancing position too.
And just good for that low back.
Exactly. Yoga's a lot about balance, which, you know, if you've had any kind of medical treatments, sometimes that affects your balance. Okay, and we come down. And then a variation of that would be, let's take our left hand and slide it out just a few inches, spread fingers so we've got good balance, and we're going to come up and balance on our left knee. Right leg is up, and the hand and arm go over the ear. The bicep is right there at the ear. Continuing to breathe. And then we're going to bring the hand up and bring the gaze up.
A little tougher.
A little harder to balance. You can feel your muscles working.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and then we'll release that and come down. And again, for proper alignment, we want to do the same thing on the other side. So take that right hand, just slide it out a few inches. Spread those fingers, come up on that right knee, lifting that left leg.
Which is harder for me this side.
I have a good side and a bad side too. Or maybe I should say a good side and a weaker side. Come up with the gaze. Deep breaths. And release that, come down. Good stretching there.
Oh, that is good.
And from here, let's go into a downward dog. We just curl our toes up under and bring our hips up. And this downward dog, what you should look like is an upside down letter V, if you're doing it correctly.
So my arms should be close to my ears.
Arms close to ears, head down. Deep breaths, and then we can come back to the table. Just gently lower those knees. And bring your arms and hands out just a few inches, and then stretch into the upward facing.
And I'm going to do mine a little different.
Okay, and what Missy's doing is a half pose on the elbows, which is certainly okay to do.
Mark Conley, thank you, a physical therapist, helped me out a couple weeks ago. I injured my back, and he told me to do this stretch like 3 or 4 times, back and forth, down to here.
Right.
3 times a day, and it really worked.
Good.
So I can get up a little higher.
Good. Okay, and then we can come back and curl our toes up under, coming back up to the downward dog. And from here, it's easy to just walk your hands back towards your knees. And you kind of rest your ribs and hang loose. Rest your ribs on your thighs, and this is just called the ragdoll. The ragdoll.
Just loose.
Breathing, and then straighten your knees if you haven't already done so, and folding your arms, tipping over, just another variation of ragdoll. And then from there, just gently, slowly, as you're breathing, stand up, and when you get your spine erect, then you can raise your head up, take a deep breath, and shake it all out. you're standing.
That feels good.
Yeah.
While we're standing, I'm going to let Karen and I'm going to get a little drink of water. And if you guys have want some more information about my Hiking 101 guides, and it has some poses in there for core and stretching, you can always contact me at our call center, 541-4500, and they will send it out to you. And I have some recipes for success. Karen is a good eater, and you're probably a lot lower in weight now than you were when you were teaching back 15 years ago.
Yeah, definitely. When I worked for the school system, toward the end of my career, I had kind of a desk job.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so easy to put on the weight when you have more of a sedentary day in, the routine. So, yes, now that I'm able to be active every day, I've got some of that weight off that I put on.
Good. And yoga helps.
Yoga helps.
Okay.
Okay.
About 10 more minutes.
From here,
do you want us to turn our mats or anything?
yes, let's kind of tilt the mat just a little bit of an angle so that folks watching can see better.
Okay.
And we'll face each other, Missy, if you want to.
I was writing down what we were doing today because this is new to me. Okay.
And a wide stance here. And for this sequence of triangle poses, we're going to take our front foot and angle it out, and our back foot we want to pigeon toe, but we want those hips in forward alignment. A lot of people tend to rotate them, but forward alignment, keeping those hips. And let's raise our arms up, and we're going to tip from the waist over, bring a hand down, really doesn't matter how far down, and bring that gaze up. This is a triangle pose, and theoretically, if you were standing behind or beside, next to a wall, you would have, your shoulders and your hips and everything in perfect alignment, right flat against the wall. And bring that gaze down. And from there, we'll come back up, always breathing. And then take that front leg and bend it, and you want that calf in vertical alignment. That's important. And you look at that, tips on those fingers, that's where your gaze is. And this is a warrior pose. And we'll bring this back arm around, sweep it around to the front, proud warrior, and arms coming all the way up as superior warrior. Then we'll come down with our hands right beside that front foot and try to straighten that leg. Doesn't matter if you can't get it all the way straight. I don't always. And also take the hands and try to reach for that back foot to get a good stretch right along the back muscles again. And then bring the hands forward, still in that wide stance. And we try to walk them out, stretch for the back. And then we can bring the hands and try to reach through the legs to the back. And for this one, we'll bring our hands up like wings, slowly rise. And when you get erect, you can lift the head and a big deep breath. All right. And then let's try it for the other side. Okay. And I will show you a couple of different ones. So we'll have our backs this time, but foot out, pigeon toe the back foot, and try to keep those hips aligned front, arms up, tipping at the hip. Bring that front arm down, reach up with the back one, looking up, the gaze and down. Always want to do both sides though for that proper alignment. Come up and bend that front leg with that vertical calf. And sweep forward. Okay. And raise up to the superior warrior. Okay, and let's come down again beside those. All right. And
this is so good for your hamstrings, and so many people have back issues, and if your hamstrings are tight, gang,
yes,
it's going to affect your back.
Now for this time, let's just bring our arms up behind our back and keep your upper body parallel to the ground. Okay. And your shoulders, your shoulder blades, you feel them coming together. Deep breath, and then now slowly release it forward. But again, going to your limit. Now you can release those hands out like wings with the arms. Rise. Head up, and that's just a different variation. But we've worked both our right side and our left side with triangle poses.
We've sometimes done some of these poses in our lunch break with hiking. Because sometimes if you hike a lot or you walk and then you sit down and you enjoy lunch, for me, if I don't do a few stretches, sometimes all of a sudden I'll get up from lunch and go, oh, my back is a little stiff.
Yes. And I sometimes have a trouble with my back too, and we'll try to end with a few twists that help that.
Okay.
All right, let's come back down to the mat again, and let's get in a T pose.
Okay.
Which I think is pretty self-explanatory.
5 minutes, yeah.
Okay. Let's bring the right leg up, inhaling, and cross your body with the right leg and try to bring your foot to your left hand. If you can't hold on to it, just bring it in that direction. You breathe up to bring the leg back up, down with that right leg, and do the same thing with the left. Come up with the left to cross. This is another one that if you have, a sore back.
Oh, yeah. I call this chiropractor stretch.
Yeah. And you want your chin going the opposite direction that leg is going. And then up and down. And we can do several of those.
I like that.
But in the interest of time, let's bring the right leg up, and we're going to bring it out to the right side. And some people use a strap for this.
You use your pants.
I'm using my hand. You don't even have to hold on to the end of your foot. You can just
I'm holding my pant leg.
Hold your leg or hold your pant leg. And then bring it up. And this is a forward fold. Let's bring up your head to knee pose.
Good for your tummy.
And you can flex and stretch your foot at the same time to work all muscles of the body. Okay, and let's come down with that. And we'll do the same thing. Bring that left leg up and bring it out and down. You want to keep these hips flat as much as you can with this one. Some people think their body's it's hard to do, but you try.
Hips
and bring it up. And let's do a forward fold with a head to knee pose here and flexing and stretching that foot. All right. Now,
feels good.
Let's do the bridge. Let's bring our feet up close to our bottoms.
Probably our last one, and then we'll close it down.
And then hands by your side, and you want to just lift your hips up. This is a half bridge.
Like this.
Yes. And you've got your neck is elongated in the back there, tucking your chin. And bring your arms up over your head and stretch out where your back cat tilts.
A lot of track teams do this as part of their warm-up and cool-down.
Okay, and then bring your arms down, and underneath your body, clasp your arms behind your back there, and then walk your shoulder blades together.
Oh, yeah.
And up on the toes. This is the full bridge. Bring the toes and walk them in as far as you can get them. And lots of deep breaths here because you're really, really working all kinds of muscles. And then to release, you just let the hands go and bring the shoulder blades apart. Let the heels come down. Slowly, slowly bring yourself down through the spine, the thoracic spine, and then let the hips and the sacrum touch last. And it's just a wonderful release of tension at that point.
One. We're going to slowly sit up from here, and we wish this was longer, but we are about out of town, so I thought, well, at the very end, we could do a few just big breathing, and then fold down. And again, come around. Karen, I know you've retired from teaching, but I think you could be a good yoga teacher.
Well,
OG, is that his name?
OJ. I take, most of my yoga classes are at a local gym club.
And OJ's good. He's been on the show. You tell him I said hello.
I will do
need to get
it.
him back on.
I'll do it. I sure will.
Okay, one more, and we want to close the show by telling everybody, life is more fun when you're fit, and this is a part of fitness. So do a little range of motion in your weekly routine. Even 10 minutes twice a week would help, even out on the trail.
It does.
See you guys on the trail, and thanks to Karen Milani for doing
you're
the show.
welcome. Namaste.